Hi everyone, Luca from lgmphotography.co.uk, and in this video I'm going to give you my first review on the GoPro Hero 3 Black Edition. Now the Hero 3 Black Edition is probably the best GoPro you can get. It's the one which has the 4K mode. But it also gives you 2.7K, 1080p, 720p, and it goes down to WGA. So it gives you quite a very large range of different formats you can shoot with. Obviously 4K, it's something that is never been seen on something that small, but the problem with the 4K mode is you can only shoot at a maximum of 15 frames per second. So I don't really know how you would use it, possibly maybe for a time lapse, a short time lapse, not exactly sure, but it is possible you can shoot 4K with it, which is quite impressive. Now the mode which has been very popular has been the 2.7K, and the reason for that is because you can shoot 2.7K at what they call the Cine version, which is 24 frames per second, but also at 25 and 30 frames per second. And 2.7K is much larger than 1080p. So if you're used to shooting HD at 1080p, well, you can just imagine what 2.7K is. It's much larger, and I think you can find quite a lot of video on YouTube, and when you find them and you look into the setting mode for the resolution, it would normally show you as original. So 1080p, then it goes to original, and the 4K and 2.7K normally shows this way. So the other modes are 1080p at 60 frames per second, which has to be my favorite one, and I will go back to this later. But you can shoot at 720p at 120 frames per second. Now there are a few issues with it. And I think to be able to shoot at 120 frames per second, because the shutter of the camera is going to increase quite a lot, you need to be shooting in a situation where there is a lot of light and very fast action. So I don't know, maybe if you go to a skate park, you know, it's got to be something moving fast, because otherwise it's just not going to look good. I've not tested very well, and the tests I've done have not been great. So I think that's, looking into it, this is the best way to use it. The 2.7K is incredible. It really gives you amazing footage, great resolution, but I'm having massive issues with the editing after. So what's happening is when I got this, I started to shoot at 2.7K, and it was great. You kind of upload it onto the Cine Studio, I think it is, which is the GoPro software which comes for free. You just go onto the GoPro website and download it for free. You upload your footage onto the software. It converts it to, I think, AVI or MP4. Then you can edit it. Now, let's go back to this later. You edit it, then you export it. I'm not really a big connoisseur in video mode and editing. I'm quite amateur when it comes to video. And what happened is, when I export the videos and start to edit them, so for example, I actually made that video review quite a long time ago, but not a long time, you know, a couple of weeks ago, and I've actually done it about 2 or 3 times already. But every time I had a problem is that I wanted to put those footage at 2.7K onto the video to show you what I can get, but my editing software couldn't handle it. First of all, I had an enormous problem with the preview. It kept cutting off. Then exporting it was a problem. So it's just becoming a big nightmare. And I think the problem with it is not the camera or the software, is actually me. And because 2.7K or even 4K, you're talking about modes which are not for amateur, let's just say. And I think that if you're going to use it properly and do some proper video and editing and all this, and you use Pro Tune, which is kind of the raw format for video for the GoPro, where you can amend the white balance and a few other bits. I think you really need to have a machine, a computer which can handle extremely fast, who has a very fast processor and who can handle quite high resolution videos. I work with a D800 camera for my photography, and I have massive workflow of thousands of pictures, and I have no problem with a computer. When I work with 2.7K, I have enormous problem. It's just, it makes it very, very hard for me to work with. So I pretty much ended up by working at 1080p, 60 frames per second, and this is by far the best I've used, because you shoot it. I didn't even use ProTune anymore. I just take ProTune out of the way. I just wanted something that it's easy to use, where I'm not gonna make movies with it. I'm not gonna make little clip at a wedding. I wanted something for fun, to be honest. I'm going back to France soon. I'll be going back to surfing. I wanted something which I can make video, and the best thing is that because everyone knows that this camera is probably the best for any extreme sport. But I've got to tell you, for your day-to-day videos, it's amazing. I mean, being able to carry this in your pocket, obviously you got to have the housing here, but that size camera in your pocket and be able to make 1080p 60 frames per second, wide angle, nice, very high resolution picture. I think it was 12 megapixel pictures, great time lapse in your pocket. It's a winner, not only for extreme sport, but for everything. You know, I take it with my family. You know, taking this or my D800, which I'm filming on now. You know, it's a no-brainer. You know, if I want something easy just to put in my pocket, get out, get a few pictures, a few footage, and the quality is just so good at 1060p, 1080p at 60 frames per second. Underwater, I wasn't sure about the underwater. I've seen a few footage, but you don't know how edited they are, especially when GoPro actually put them on their website. You think, right, okay, obviously they're advertising it for the product, so they're gonna shoot ProTune, put 2.7K, really put every effect to make the video amazing. So when you look at it, you just want to buy it. And I've got to say, shooting at 1080p, no ProTune, no editing whatsoever, the footage are incredibly sharp, great colors, and the water is so clear. It's just an amazing little camera, and to think you can get all this in that for about, I paid in sterling now in England, £280 for the camera. It's just incredible. It really is something that everyone should have. Because it can be used for so many different things, for your extreme sport, of course, but for your family holidays, for going out at night time. Why not? You know, I'm going out tomorrow night. I'm going to take it with me, and I'm going to take a few pictures, a few videos, and I'm sure I'm going to have great footage, and this will stick in my pocket. So, you know, it's an amazing little thing. The only thing I would say is that it comes with a few accessories, but unfortunately you probably will end up by having to buy quite a lot more. So this was £280, and it came with two little like sticky thing, one which is a bit bent and one which is straight. They're not great. I've got to say, they're not good. Even in my car, which I tried to make a video inside the car, so there's not that much vibration, it just didn't stick to it, so it wasn't good. It comes with the housing, which has two different doors. So the first one is the one which is an open door, so it protects your camera against shocks, but it won't protect it against water. So if you're gonna work or use the camera underwater, you need to use the full housing, which protects it completely. The only difference is that with the sound, this one will let much more sound than this one. So if you are underwater, you probably have to increase your volume at your editing. As this, you can hear quite clearly, you know, the surrounding noise and people talking. And if you're shooting, looking at it, you will hear yourself quite well. The black edition comes with a remote control. I personally haven't used it yet because I've used my iPhone to control it, and I found the iPhone quite good because you can see a preview before you're shooting, so it gives you an idea of the composition. But the thing is that with this camera, it's so wide that you just have to point where you want to shoot and just press the button. The thing with the wireless, it takes much more battery than if you're not using it. So something to take in consideration. The battery, when using wireless, you're probably looking at an hour top. So I purchased a couple of extra battery, which are not GoPro model, with a charger, car charger, and that costed me about an extra £20. The suction, so that would be for the car, for the bike. Pretty much, you could probably use it for motorsport. I may use it for my car, I don't know yet, but probably will. So that's £30. So things that kind of add up. So I got this because I do some mountain biking for the handlebar. That was £20. So you end up by paying this for this £280, which is very good price. Probably in the US, I think it's $3.99. You probably can get it cheaper if you look around it and look for it. But you're probably gonna end up by spending about £100 in little accessories. I got, of course, what is it? Yeah, the mount for the tripod, so I can stick on the tripod. I used it on this, and I use actually this on the pole. So what I was doing is, as I was walking, just like this, so you can use it as a pole, like you've maybe seen on the advertising. Yeah, here we go. So that's the little one which has the tripod mount, and I'm just waiting for one more, which should be there anytime, is the hot shoe, so I can actually put it on top of my camera. And I'm just working on a project at the moment, which is a first-person shooter on a wedding, so I can shoot a video as I'm shooting, and just to kind of take you with me when I'm shooting, and maybe explain when I'm shooting what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And that's the kind of video I want to make in the future. But I've got to say, you know, for the price you pay, I think it's such an amazing value. And as I said, this is not only for extreme sport. I would recommend it to anyone. The silver edition shoots at, I think the top is 1080p, 25 or 30 frames per second. I'm not exactly sure here, look into it. It doesn't come with a remote control, but I wouldn't be too worried about this. The only thing is that this one shoots at 1080p, 60 frames per second, and has much better low light performance than the silver edition. So it's something to consider. Now for the extra price, I would recommend you go for this one. I think this is kind of a future proof, because 2.7K, you know, I mean, maybe 2 or 3 years time could be the new 1080p, which should be the new kind of standard HD, and that would be, you know, right there to shoot with. So yeah, so far so good. So let me show you a few footage I've taken with it. And yeah, this was shot at 1080p, 60 frames per second, and that was done in a swimming pool. So yeah, any question, let me know. I will make a new another review soon, but in the time being, yeah, if you want to ask me any question, if you want me to cover anything in my next video about the GoPro, let me know. Cheers, see ya. Come on.